Hello everyone, it is June and that means it is Pride Month. And that means it's time to be proud of ourselves and not let the world drag us down. To better do so, I have decided to list some anime characters that offer good representation. One for every letter of the LGBTQIA. There's often more than one example per letter though, so if there's a character you think is worth mentioning, leave a comment. Tell me and everybody else their name, their identity, even if it's not purely canon, and what anime they're from. And I am sticking to just anime for this video. There are far more examples when we look at manga series, but this is my first video for this year's Pride, so I'm starting small. Also, if you like this video, please give a thumbs up. It helps me see what type of content my audience wants to see more of. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe, because I'll be doing this type of thing for a while. Happy Pride! By the way, these are characters I picked personally for my own reasons. There are actually a lot of different characters that are part of the Alphabet Mafia, and you can even find lists on Wikipedia that have examples going back decades. I'll put links in the description if you want to look at them, and maybe find a new series to check out. Now, let's begin our list with Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune from Sailor Moon. Outer Senshi from the edge of the solar system, these two are introduced in the third season of both the 90s anime and Sailor Moon Crystal. They are friends, lovers, partners, and one of the most recognizable lesbian couples in anime. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that they make my list. Also, they are probably my favorite Sailor Scouts. But don't worry, lesbian fans, I'll probably make a video just about anime lesbians at some point, to discuss less known characters. Haruka is masculine, with characters assuming she's a guy more than once, and Michiru is feminine, both so in more traditional ways. But they are also both strong and emotional. They aren't trapped by gender norms. They care deeply about what they're fighting for, and for each other, of course. And there's solid proof that a woman doesn't need a man to improve her life. Heading to G, there's Sasaki and Miyano from the titular series. This is a more recent anime, but one I really enjoyed. Miyano is a high school sophomore that loves BL, or boys love, and Sasaki is his upperclassman that develops an immediate and huge crush on him. The two slightly struggle with their feelings before becoming a very cute gay couple. And while Miyano seems to be bisexual, having liked girls in the past, I've included them here because I think the anime is really nice and wholesome, and the pair are just so cute together. And they are two men in a relationship after all. The series doesn't delve into discrimination or harassment, and there's probably more than one gay couple in it. They're roommates, right? Yeah. So, this is a typical boys love series, not breaking any boundaries or doing anything new, but that's okay. Sometimes you just need utter acceptance. Also, it's worth noting that Sasaki never tries to force anything on Miyano. He's just honest about his feelings and lets Miyano realize his own. In teenagery ways, so it's not always perfect, but, you know, it's a lot better than some other BL series. Representing bisexuality, I've chosen George from Paradise Kiss. He is openly bi, and while he mostly dates the female protagonist of the series, he does seem to have, or had, a relationship with another male character, Seiji. George is a fashion designer, so his character fights gender norms that way as well. And though he's not the best person, he's a bit of a jerk honestly, the fact that him being bi isn't a problem at all in the series means a hell of a lot. Paradise Kiss also has a trans woman who is always respected, so the show is worth checking out for that representation too. I'll also include Motoko Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell as a bi woman. She's heavily implied to have sexual relationships with women, and there are moments of romantic tension with some men. It's not certain how she identifies, But she does live in a cyberpunk world where a person can change their entire body if they wish to, and Kusanagi definitely seems open-minded. It's hard to even think of her as not being bi. Though maybe she's pan? On to T. Here are two transgender characters, one male and one female. First, Yoshino Takatsuki from Wandering Sun, a trans boy. He experiences gender dysphoria at the thought of menstruating and having to wear a bra, a plight I'm sure many trans men can relate to. He eventually starts wearing a boy's uniform to school and is shown a bit of acceptance, but ultimately, the character shows how hard it can be to be a trans man, as few people truly see them as men. For those that have read the manga of Wandering Sun, don't worry, I do plan to make a video eventually about the manga version of Yoshino and his journey, including the ending that a lot of people dislike, and I understand why it is disliked. Just be patient for that, I'll get to it eventually. Next is Kiku from One Piece, a trans woman. It's great representation from Ichiro Oda, who has had some troublesome things earlier in One Piece, especially since Kiku is never misgendered, and no one ever seems to have a problem with her. It only comes out that she was assigned male at birth because she's revealed to be a samurai. And the characters think, aren't only men allowed to be samurai in Wano? Well, she's a woman at heart, so she is a female samurai. Take that, misogynist! For Q, which can stand for queer or questioning, I've chosen first, Yu Asuka from Stars Align. I don't know any character that would fit questioning better, as Yu doesn't know how they want to identify, what would make them feel complete. Being a boy doesn't feel right, and neither does being a girl. Even non-binary doesn't totally work for them. They just know they're different and unsure of what to do. Thankfully, the main character of the show, Maki, accepts them for who they are, and says they can just be whoever they want. It's a touching scene in a show with a lot of emotional scenes, and even if there ends up never being a second season, Stars Align is an anime I have to recommend. For queer, I could think of no better character than Emporio Ivankov from One Piece. Yes, I already mentioned a One Piece character, but come on, look at them! With the power of the hormone fruit, or hormone fruit, Ivankov can inject hormones into a person that can, generally speaking, change their sex. Being queen of the Kamabaka kingdom, made up of cross-dressers and trans folks, this power comes in very handy. Ivankov easily changes the sex of themselves and their comrade Inazuma in the series, and with Ivankov's over-the-top appearance and personality, reminiscent of Rocky Horror Picture Show's Dr. Frankfurter, I think saying that they are queer as fuck is no exaggeration. Not so surprisingly, there are few intersex anime characters. The group still needs a lot more representation in media in general, let alone anime, but I do know of one, Richard from Requiem of the Rose King. I'll admit I've only seen a few episodes of this, but it's clear from the beginning that Richard is intersex, with both male and female traditional physical traits. And in a world where that sort of thing is completely unheard of, Richard is seen as a monster, hated even by his own family. I'm unsure where the series goes, but it seems to nail the self-hatred that can come from having a different body in a society that often hates differences. That's still very true today, as not many understand what being intersex is or how common it is. It may not be optimistic, but it is at least somewhat honest. That said, if you're intersex, remember that you are beautiful and deserve love, and don't ever let anybody tell you different. Finally, for the A, I have chosen Maki from Bloom Into You. While not a huge character in the story, Maki is still seen and heard, and his very existence means a lot, because he is an openly aromantic asexual. He doesn't fall in love with anyone, and he doesn't feel bad about it. He's not lonely because he has friends, and he doesn't feel like he's missing out on anything. He enjoys seeing other people's relationships, but he never wants one of his own. It's refreshing to see. I could mention Yu, the main character of Bloom Into You, and how she seems like she's part of the ace-aro spectrum, but that deserves its own video. It's kinda complicated. There you go! 11 characters from 8 different anime series, representing the entire LGBTQIA+. Minus the plus, of course, but I'm doing my best. I wish I had the time to name as many characters as I could, but I unfortunately don't. But I will try to do more videos with more representation. If there are any characters you'd like mentioned, leave them in the comments. There are still so many series I need to check out, but I'll never turn down one more. Thank you for watching. You can find me on Twitter if you so desire. I have a Patreon if you want to support me, links to both in the description, and I love to reply to comments as long as I can think of something to say. Happy Pride, everyone, and remember, you are you, and you are great. Don't let the bigots stop you from having a wonderful life.